a city that you can connect the world with. That's why you get universal city. That's university. Now, do we have a universe in our educational system now?
So, Jide Johnson, yes, I'm sorry, yes, but it's still, part of this. So what is making our political office holders morning on top and have a desk to sit on? Universities where the learning environment is not conducive. You see the way the lecturers are. I mean, the place is not lit. You don't have internet connection. There are no facilities in the lab and what have you. It's nothing really. It looks like, I don't know what to describe. It feels like we're in the Stone Age.
Mercy.
Yes.
I'll use Unilag as an example. Just look at Unilag Senate building and look at Faculty of Arts building in Unilag and Theatre Arts in Unilag and the Faculty of Engineering in Unilag. And then you just look at those monumental buildings. I'm showing you monumental buildings that were built in the past. Now, how many monumental buildings do you have in Unilag, for example? How many hostels? If we sustain the level of investment we made in the university system in the 70s, this, which I would call the golden age of our educational sector, you can ask your reporter to go to all of these institutions and look at the monuments they have. They are all of residence. When were they constructed? When was the last time a new lecture theater was constructed? You will be shocked at what investment we have made into university. I agree with you. We have not made the needed investment. We have not made the needed investment that we need to put into our educational sector across board, in terms of hostel facilities, in terms of lecture theaters, in terms of office facilities for lecturers. But it's a product of years of neglect, and that's how where we started from was that federal government announced we are going back to 2009. 2009 in 2022 agreement in 2009 that was not implemented of public officials to increase the emoluments of other people that are involved in the political process, but to make investment, because education is the future of any nation. Whatever investment you make in education will determine your innovation and your creativity and your productivity in the future. Now, we are not, can our students operate under the innovative economy that we have found ourselves? What is the level? In actual sense, beyond those infrastructure, let's talk about the curriculum that we use. What type of curriculum do we use to train these students? Are we training our students to compete in the 21st century? Are we training them to let them understand that they operate in a global landscape with the advent of technology and internet, that any job that is available, they can apply? If you have the skill, if you have the requisite skill, knowledge that is required, you can apply for any job anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in the United States of America to get a job in the United States of America. If you have the skill in Nigeria, you get it. And for us, I usually tell my students that the jobs you are applying for in Nigeria, Nigerians in the diaspora can apply for the same job if you don't equip yourself, if you limit yourself to what we teach you alone in the class. If you are not creative and innovative, you cannot operate in the present economy. Now, how many of those lecturers that we have can use internet? How many can use smartboard? How many of them can even use? How many lecturers project their lectures? Do we even have just projectors in our lecture theaters across the schools in Nigeria? And not to even talk of smartboard. Are the classrooms accessible to internet? These are issues that we need to ask ourselves and see whether indeed we are running a nation or we are running a jungle.
All right, thank you, Jide Johnson. We've actually spent so much time on the education system, although which is actually very fundamental, because if we don't fix it, our own future, our children's future, will be completely undermined. But let's quickly just take one more story so we'll wrap up because of time. The front page of the Punch, governors fume over falling FAC funds, carpet NNPC. I want to get your very thoughts concerning that quickly as we wrap up.
I don't know what they are fuming about. NNPC is a government within the government. In fact, it's a government that is higher, above the federal government. It's an institution within it. So even the National Assembly that has power over the control of budget does not have control over NNPC. A clue with respect to what we pay on subsidy, not to even talk about what you get on revenue that comes from NNPC. So will dry one day. And when that oil dries, we will use our intellect. Nations that don't have oil, they are thriving, they are innovative, and they are creative. But because we are dependent on the oil, it has limited our capacity to think outside of the box and to think on how we can generate revenue. All what governors do is to get elected, borrow money, use whatever means to get elected, and once they are elected, they don't do anything creative. They don't do any creative except to wait for the jack at the end of federal allocation at the end of the month. And once that allocation comes, they pay salaries and they spend.
Thank you, Jude Johnson, and we also wish you a wonderful weekend as well, and we trust that you're going to make the most of it. But that's as much as we can take on Off the Presser.
what we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 and they pay.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Welcome back. Obesity is a global problem that affects everyone. Around the world, approximately 800 million people are living with the disease, while millions are at risk to get affected. Now, World Obesity Day is observed on March 4 every year to promote practical solutions and help people achieve and maintain a healthy weight while undertaking proper treatment. Dr. Chinasa Amadi is a lifestyle medicine physician and the founder of Africa's first digital lifestyle medicine practice, Ariella Health and Fitness Limited. She joins us now to give more insight on the topic this morning. Good morning to you, Dr. Chinasa Amadi. Thanks for joining us on The Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. We are seeing or hearing very alarming statistics concerning obesity in the world and indeed Africa. Let's just bring it closer home. What are the figures? What do we have hitting us here in Nigeria?
According to the Global Observatory, like Global Obesity Observatory, it shows that Nigeria is at high risk, actually. The Nigeria obesity risk is high at 7.5 over 10. Between 2015 and 2005 and 2016, there has been over 100% increase rise in prevalence of obesity in Nigeria. And what are we linking this to? We're pretty much linking it to our adoption of unhealthy habits, one sedentary lifestyle, our love now for westernized food, westernized diet, and a couple of other factors. So yes, it is really close to home. It's very close to home. We're catching up with the Western world when it comes to the risk prevalence.
When you say catching up, it is really not something good. We should catch up with the good things and not catching up with something that will affect our lifestyle and indeed our health. Is it that we are not eating right or living well as a people in Nigeria?
First of all, I think we are culturally conditioned to associate an increased size with affluence. So first of all, we need to we have a lot of reconditioning to do, cultural reconditioning. So if we cannot reorient ourselves, then that is a problem. So that's the first step. We have to know that the fact that someone is losing weight does not mean the person is poor, or does not mean the person does not have food to eat. So that's the first thing first. Then secondly, we are beginning to associate the fact that eating unhealthy meals with or eating westernized meals with affluence too. Somehow we like to be in that class. We like status so much in this country. So you have to eat your sausages. I'm eating my pastries, doughs, and that is like enjoyment. Yes. So that, first of all, conditioning we need to do as a people, as a community, is the first step to pretty much changing this whole, the declining the risk here in Nigeria.
Right.
Okay, Dr. Chenesa, let's also talk about the primary causes. Really, what are the things that one should know about obesity? Is it that one is eating too much, or one is eating, like you have mentioned, trying to be associated with the Western culture and pattern of eating? Now, prior to this time, maybe we didn't have all of the data and information in front of us. So what were we doing differently that we're not doing now?
So the thing about obesity is multifactorial. That means that different things can cause it. It can be from lifestyle, it could be from ill health, certain diseases, it could be from certain medications, it could be from certain psychological conditions. So it's important, first of all. So I'll just go on the aspect of lifestyle now, which is predominant. Yes. Now, what are we eating? Before we eat more wholesome foods, we are eating more. I remember growing up. If my mom makes moi or beans at home with vegetables and you're not eating it, then you're not hungry, pretty much. But now, if your child doesn't want to eat that, there is another alternative. Either a quick fast juice with a quick fast snack, and those are alternatives we are giving. So we're seeing that we are creating an obese generation automatically. So by what we're eating. So we've changed what we learned, and even our parents ate food more. I remember my grandma, they're making soups fresh. The vegetables are almost fresh. You can literally smell the fish from the soup, literally. But now we're not doing that anymore. So our type of eating has changed. And we're, of course, with life, things are more stressful now. People want fast food. Now, exercising, before, in those days, in the past, people walk a long distance to the farm. So even though they are not intentionally exercising, they are actually getting in physical activity. But now we're sitting down behind the laptop, sitting down behind the keyboard, typing from morning, 8 o'clock till 4 p.m. Then we get up, go to the bus stop, sit in the bus, sit on traffic for 4 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. and straight, you just eat and go lie down again. So we are literally not even moving. And even the distance we can move, there are bikes all over. You just get a bike quickly and jump over and go use the bike. So those are things that have changed from then and now.
All right, Doctor, for sake of clarity, let's try and make this particular disease more understanding for Nigerians. How can you really tell if you're obese as against them being overweight, really?
Well, there's a standard, the BMI standard, which a lot of people have argued that it is not standard for Black people. But the standard, which is still what we use in the books in medical school, is that a BMI of above 30 is in the obese category. Now, how do you calculate your BMI? Is your weight in kg all over your height in meters squared. So if, for example, a 1.65 meters, you just square that, that is 1.65 times 1.65. Then your weight, let's say you're 100 kg. So it is 100 kg over your height in meters squared. When you get that, the value, if it's above 30, then it is considered obese. If it's between 25 and 30, then it's overweight. Now, that is one way. The other way is also the waist circumference, which is what I like. Because the waist circumference is that it tells you that women should have at least less than a 35-inch and men less than a 14-inch. Because studies have linked increased waistline with increased risk of hypertension, diabetes, hypercholesterolemia, that's high cholesterol, and other metabolic syndrome. So it's important because of that linkage of increased waistline and that's the reference range that is given. For women, less than a 35 inch. So you just use the regular tape that the tailors use, put it around your navel and check where are you at. Do you need to get it down or not? I think that's an easy one to do, even if you don't have a skill.
Okay, so we're hoping that we can actually break this down so that, the common man can understand. Still sounds very medical and very technical, but I'm hoping that we can just, get to that point where it's very simple to understand. You have rightly mentioned that eating differently. So I want to find out, is it that eating too much or eating
random shortbread? One piece is around over 100 calories. And compare that with an apple, which is around 50 to 70 calories. So the apple is bigger in size, but the shortbread is smaller. So, but the calorie content is higher. The content of saturated fat is higher in this. So it's not just about the size of the food. It's also about the calorie content of the food, one. It's also about how the food is made. We know that there are certain things that are high in calorie when it's high in saturated fat, when it's high in trans fats. So it's just about reading the label. But one thing that is easy, even if you don't want to count calories, I say eat foods that are closer to the ground. So you can check the distance from your plate, from the farm to your plate. You can imagine it. If you cannot imagine it, then know that should I be eating this in a large quantity or in a smaller, very, very small quantity? So that's an easy way. Don't even bother about the calorie content. Just you can imagine vegetable noodles. You cannot imagine vegetable noodles. How did it become noodles? It's spiral. But you can imagine vegetable soup. You plucked from the farm. You
will still have to use swallow, to eat the soup.
Swallow is not the problem. The question is when we now want to eat swallow that is like a 10-year-old baby's head. That's the problem. So it's important. I always tell people in swallow and soup, the soup is the meal. But most of the time we're using a tablespoon of ogbono soup with a mouthful of swallow. So we misplace it. So we need to realize that the soup is the main dish, then swallow is the accompanying support system.
But also, if you look at it, let's even talk about this practically. If you look at the soup most times, this is African, this is Nigeria. It's not every soup that has that vegetable content. For instance, you mentioned the ogbono soup, and you already know that there's going to be palm oil in it, and that's a lot already.
Now we know certain foods. There are certain foods that are high in calorie. Oils are high in calorie. On all forms of oils are all high in calorie. So it's very important to limit it as much as possible. The thing is that cultural mindset. Yes, we're culturally inclined, in addition to think that there has to be my soup has to be bright, my soup has to be red. So that's the cultural reconditioning we need to have. Ogbono soup doesn't have to be so oily. You can use even your tatache, bell peppers to get the redness that you need. The question is, will your mind agree that you have made ogbono soup?
Naturally bigger, often, made to feel bad and small, about themselves. So how do you begin to help them? Because some people, they will tell you that it's not like I'm eating too much. It's not like I have a low metabolism or something. It's just that I have it in my genes that we are all very big and fat in our family. How do you help people, who are obese and who want to make better decisions so that they can maybe lose weight and, of course, still feel good about themselves?
So I think in this concept of body shaming, there is a thin line. Because even sometimes I have been accused of body shaming because I'm like, hey, try to lose some weight because it's affecting your health outcome. And I'm like, your body, they're like, oh, your body shaming. I'm like, where's the point? Can we advocate without having it being considered body shaming? But that's by the way. Now, the thing is, your gene is not your destiny. Studies have shown that impact of your gene on your health status is not more than 30%. So that means that you have a 70% chance of not being obese, even if everybody in your family is obese. That is the first thing. So you need to come to that point. Personally, at 16 years, I was already over 80 kg.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up knowing that everyone is big in my family. See my pounds are really big. So I always knew that. But now, at almost, in my late 30s already now, I'm not even up to a 75. And that is because I decided to break the jinx. So it's up to you. Are you ready to break that genetic? You think that it will be extra work. There are some people that you feel they eat everything and they are not big. That's their lot. But that doesn't also mean they are healthy. Let's leave that for another conversation. Remember, the size doesn't determine health status, because there are some people that are very slim, they are hypertensive, diabetic, high cholesterol, which is even an independent risk factor for stroke. But we'll not go there yet. The issue now is, once you're obese, do you want to lose weight first? Do you think you want to lose weight? Maybe because you want to improve your health. You want to be able to walk without panting. You want to be able to run and your knees are not hurting. Find a reason, a motivation to do something. Sometimes a motivation is what will keep you going, because losing weight, trying to get over the obesity status is hard, but it is possible. The question is, are you ready to do all it takes? Some people say they've done everything. I'm like, really?
So, Doctor, let's also talk about what the signs and symptoms would be. Like we know with malaria, with COVID-19, and with every other disease, there probably would just be a sign and a symptom for it. So what would you say the signs and symptom for obesity is?
Like what I said earlier, first of all, just get the tailor's tape. Yes, the tape the tailor uses for measurement, and check your waistline circumference and see where are you at first. So do I need to start working? As a woman, is it above 35 inches? As a man, is it above 40 inches? Then that's the first step. Another thing is, for some people, they start noticing that they are not sleeping well. For some people, they start noticing that either they start having breakout, because like maybe acne, they start noticing that, or for some women, there's a change in their menstrual cycle. For some other people, they start getting tired easily, so they are different. It's like what we call non-specific symptoms. This disease has non-specific symptoms. So different people may present with different things. Know your body. Know the point when your dress is tighter. So this dress I used to wear before, now you're not wearing it. It's not because you're older. It's now because you have increased, because the dress didn't age. So once you notice that and you start taking action at that initial time, that's the first thing. So, but the truth is, it starts with the mind. You have to condition your mind to do it, and do it as a lifestyle, not doing it as a diet. That's where most people tend to fail. They jump into whatever diet is reigning, and then they get tired and fall out. So imagine that I want to be healthier for my life, for the rest of my life. When healthy is the goal, weight loss pretty much is the side effect.
All right, Dr. Amadi, although some of my colleagues here are just raising their hands in the air, they're telling me that my suits don't fit anymore, but I'm just going to let that pass. But let's talk about, this obesity. Is it, do we have situations in children or adolescents? And because sometimes you see some children who are a bit chubby. Is there obesity in children, and how do we address that?
Yes, there is obesity in children, and it's pretty much even glaring from their physical outcome. Now, the studies are showing that the rate of obesity in children is 10 times more than in the past decade. Like over 100% increase than the past decade. So this has also increased the risk of lifestyle diseases, diabetes, hypertension in children. Wow. So, yes. Now, so it's important for us to know there is this study that was done, the Global Burden of Disease study, and it shows that 1 in 10 children born after the year 2000 will develop type 2 diabetes. And this was linked to the rising obesity rate among children. So we have a lot of work on our hands. We as parents, I said this generation of parents, we tend to gratify, we use food as a gratification. Like, you do well, eat food. You cry, eat food. You don't want to speak to your neighbor, eat food. Your friend beats you, eat food. So every food is a consolation prize for everything. And that is where we are getting it wrong, unfortunately. And then the same type of foods we're giving in their lunch packs is the same kind of foods we're giving at home. Mommy doesn't have time, daddy doesn't have time, so what is easier? Fast food. And fast food, I don't want to say what it leads fast to, but the goal, as parents, we should start thinking, am I feeding my child? I met a mother who said her 6-year-old eats 10 slices of bread. If she eats 5, she cries. And I'm like, crying has never been known to be a cause of death. Cry. It has never been known. However, the risk of that bread, eating all that amount of bread as a 6-year-old is linked to death. So which one do you want? Are you
from the southeast, from the south, where a woman, after she gets pregnant and gives birth, she's asked to go to the fattening room? Is it something that we should be practicing, really?
No.
Why not?
We shouldn't. Because it's one of those cultural practices that is not important. I've still not understood the reason why the woman has to be indoors for 3 months. I don't understand that. There are certain things that there are certain things that we should start breaking, and we should be willing to break it. We have to make efforts to break those cultural practices that are not favoring our health. So the woman is just sitting down day in, day out, sit, lie, eat, eating, and after 3 months, the man is the same person who will go, wow, this was not the woman I married. Hello.
You're just cracking me up here.
We need to, it's been very fantastic having you. But let's just move on, because we probably might just spend the remaining time just laughing out. Very interesting conversation, by the way. But generally, how can this be prevented?
Now, this can be prevented by, first of all, 1, we need to start eating more fruits and vegetables. That's the first thing. We don't eat enough fruit. And studies have even shown that eating up to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day reduces heart disease risk by up to 25%. So even if not for the fact of you being, whether fat or thin or anything, it's about improving your heart health. So I tell people, invest 200 naira every day in either a fruit, or just in a fruit is easy, or fruit and vegetable. Invest 200 naira. So either 200 naira cucumbers, 200 naira apple is expensive, 200 naira oranges, 200 naira garden eggs, or carrots. Yes, 200 naira. Eat any fruit in season. Go for that one. Mangoes are coming out. Wait till when they come out, well, you'll get 200 naira, maybe 3 or 4. So invest 2 to 300 naira every day for your health. That's the first step. Secondly, anything we're eating, we should try to be intentional with adding in some greens by the side. You have your rice, you have your beans, add in greens. You can just buy 100 naira, 200 naira ugu to add in every day. That will automatically reduce the portion of other higher calorie foods that you eat. The other thing is we need to start moving more. So if you have a sedentary type of work, every 1 hour, stand up for 3 minutes. Even if it's to walk to the photocopy machine, walk and see your colleague's table. Just stand up every 1 hour for 3 minutes. So set your timer, 8:57, I'll stand up and walk. 9:57, I'll stand up and walk. You understand that? So that's an easy way, especially for busy professionals. Then if you're going, instead of taking a bike to the bus stop, please just walk, or just go, brisk walk. Be intentional about moving. We need to start moving more. Another thing which we underestimate its power in obesity is sleeping. If we're not sleeping, we are pretty much not sleeping, we're increasing the appetite hormone, which is ghrelin. We're increasing cortisol, stress hormone, and you just want to be, that if you're not sleeping at night, you'll see that you're hungry in the night, even if you're not hungry in the daytime. So it's important to get in as much sleep as you can. Minimum is 7 to 9 hours. But I usually say, well, if you're in Lagos, you can do it 6 hours. But the goal is, just try to, when you come back from work, keep your phone away. Most of the time, we spend a lot of time on our phones. Keep the phone away and then go in and sleep. That is very important. The other thing, we're not drinking enough water. Somebody is thirsty, they grab soda. I'm thirsty, you're grabbing juice. Hello, what happened? So it's important to be drinking in more water. The weather is so hot. We should drink I need a chilled drink. Why you need a chilled drink? Get chilled water if you want chilled water. So whether hot or cold water does not make one increase your waistline or anything. No, water is the only calorie-free fluid ever. So it's not going to cause weight gain. So that myth is not correct. So that is another important thing. Now, as much as possible, even if you say, I cannot stop eating junk food, tell yourself that, okay, I will eat this maybe only on Saturday, or maybe only one meal on Sunday, or maybe, just gradually until you're able to break it off totally. Or maybe when I go for that wedding tomorrow, that is when I will have this there. So not you buy that thing and bring home. Buy the junk and bring home. Keep it for those moments when you cannot control it. These are things that will really help. And of course, stress management. We need to effectively manage stress. We're living with so much stress now in our environment. Like literally all Nigerians are stressed right now. But what can you do? If you cannot change the situation, you can change how you react to the situation. And that is one way, that's one thing I like to hinge on. If you cannot change the economy, you can change how you react to the economy. It's not easy, but it's important for you, for your own personal health, and of course, so that you don't increase the statistics. Then it's important to realize that your gene is not your destiny. You have the power of, your life is in your hands. Yes, you cannot control life or death, but you can control as I'm living, let me live healthy maximally. I want to be able to do these things till I'm 75. And stop looking for quick fix. If you're looking for something to drink to burn the fat, if they told you that, please dispel that. That is just a marketing gimmick. Because you didn't drink anything that made the fat to congeal inside your body. So you do not expect to drink something that will make it just melt and disappear. It's important to put in the work, think about lifestyle. The goal of weight loss is not to fit into a slimmer casket. The goal is a healthier you long term. Yes, did you get that? The goal of weight loss is not to fit into a slimmer casket. The goal is that you are healthier long term. And that is the reason why the theme of this year is everyone needs to act together now. We all need to do the work together. It's not a one-person work. It's not only me. It's not only you, the whole family. So,
all right. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. China Samadi. That's actually like not just a handful, that's like a whole lot that we have gotten today. And it is actually a collaborative effort, if we really need to stem this issue of overweight, obesity, and, getting better lifestyle, in the board. We do appreciate your time, and thank you once again for joining us to enlighten Nigerians and to improve their lifestyle, amendments and all. We do appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. It is still The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll be talking sports this time around. Stay with us.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my land. on the button, send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, you know, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, you know, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Welcome back. It's still The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We talk sports at this point in time. Now, in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the United States, European Union, the United Kingdom, Australia, and others have said that they're moving to scrutinize the asset of a handful of rich and powerful Russians. Now, this government says such people have profited from close ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, Russian billionaire paid £140 million to acquire the club back in 2003, I beg your pardon. According to the reason for Abramovich selling the club is that it's attributed to the threat of being sanctioned by the United Kingdom government. Now, and if that happens, it means that all of his assets would actually be frozen, and he would definitely lose everything. Abramovich says the net proceeds from the sale of Chelsea will be donated to a foundation for the benefit of all victims of the war in Ukraine. Joining us to make sense of this is a journalist, a sports journalist, and also the director and communications officer of Andresa FC, Mighty George. It's good to have you join us this morning on the show.
Guys, good morning, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, thank you, Mighty George. But just before we get into all of the discussion, let us quickly take this video, and Mighty George will be doing a whole lot of explanation to us concerning the future of Chelsea in a moment. Stay with us.
As threats to sanction Russia's oligarchs intensify,
What happened? You people
Russian
were rolling
billionaire Roman Abramovich said he would sell Chelsea Football Club after 19 years, promising to donate money from the sale to help victims of the war in Ukraine. The metals magnate said in a statement Wednesday that a sale was in the best interest of the reigning European and world soccer champions. The announcement comes as Russian billionaires come under intensifying pressure. Earlier in the day, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson declined to comment on whether Britain would impose sanctions on Abramovich, but said the vice was tightening on those around Russian President Vladimir Putin. And in the U.S., Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced further efforts to sanction Russia's elite.
We and our allies and partners are launching a task force to identify, track down, and freeze the assets of sanctioned Russian companies and oligarchs.
Business tycoon Hans-Jörg Weiss told a newspaper that he was considering buying Chelsea from Abramovich, saying Abramovich wanted to get rid of Chelsea quickly and was trying to sell his villas in England as well. Abramovich bought the West London club in 2003 for a reported £140 million, an investment that led to the most successful era in the team's history. The 55-year-old, who has Israeli and Portuguese citizenship, became one of Russia's most powerful businessmen by earning fortunes after the 1991 breakup of the Soviet Union. Forbes has put his net worth at $13.3 billion.
Still the breakfast, and we do have Mighty George joining the conversation this morning. Thank you once again for being part of the breakfast. We do appreciate your time.
To be here as well every time.
All right, so Mighty George, let's get to the crux of the matter. What do you think the fate of the football club Chelsea will be? I mean, now that Abramovich is considering selling Chelsea, and we know that under his ownership of this club, the club has done very well, winning 21 trophies, and probably have had several buyings, and that's because of the resources available.
Well, you know, most people who are Chelsea fans today only just recognize the Abramovich era, which of course started back in 2003 to date. It's been the most successful era of Chelsea Football Club. And, you know, you just want to start thinking how the club would fare, you know, without Abramovich. Well, many have said, you know, he brought in the money, but Abramovich actually brought in the personnel as well, which unfortunately we hear some of them will believe in. You know, there's a woman who transited from just being his personal assistant to learning the ropes in football and now responsible for a lot of, you know, buys and successes and marketing tours of Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea Football Club under Abramovich turned from a selling club, from a buying club rather, to a selling club. At a point, when they came and were the ones with the biggest money before now, it was Chelsea who was splashing the cash on players, brought Shevchenko at that time for a record fee, decided to bring all the big players.
All right, Mighty George.
From across the globe. And then it turned into a very business, yeah. Hello?
All right, we seem to be having a bit of disconnect, but I just wanted to find out the consequences and the aftermath of all of this, because from his statement, he says he's passing the stewardship. Is he still in control, and will it affect the day-to-day running or activities of the Chelsea Football Club?
Well, as it is, the first thing he did was hand over to the Board of Trustees of the foundation, but they have said, and the UK have said that that's not enough. You need to sell it outrightly and have no control over it. So that's definitely what's going to happen. Roman Abramovich would cease to be the owner of Chelsea Football Club, and there will be a new owner, obviously. When the $4 billion valuation is met, which we hear now that the owner of Newcastle is, has thrown things. We don't want any businesses, connected to Abramovich, who is a well-known Russian and a well-known, in quotes, associate of Putin when it comes to them having acquaintances. So there'll be a new player, a new owner, if surely there's a new buyer. But it's interesting to know that it's not just Chelsea who are owned by a Russian side, and that's why some criticisms have come. Also, in the owner of Bournemouth is actually a Russian, actually Uzbek Russian, and so the pressure hasn't come so much on Bournemouth. I'm not sure why. He's a Russian citizen. Also, Usmanov, the owner of Everton, is a Russian as well. But we're hearing that he's also having plans to sell Everton. But you can see why it's all about Chelsea. They're the biggest club affected by this one right now. And no doubt, if Abramovich sells and collects that money, then he ceases to be the owner and calling the shots. So it's effectively going to see an end of an Abramovich era. Quite unfortunately.
All right. So, but my teacher, do you see this affecting transfer? Because maybe just expire, might just not be renewed.
Well, there are lots of shakeups that will come with having a new owner. It'll be a new philosophy. For Abramovich, it's always been, I need to get the best. One notable thing about Abramovich era is the turnover of coaches. But you would argue that they've won, quite a number of trophies. So if you sack a big coach like getting, Jose Mourinho and bring in, Jose Scolari, and you get win titles, so it's no big deal. So the philosophy of the owner would really determine how Chelsea will shape this time around. Good thing they have one of the best academies, and if you check some of the players who's coming from the lower ranks, Chelsea have been doing well from academy players, from, of course, Hudson-Odoi coming in, Reece James. Those are all players. Even Tammy Abraham, who had to be loaned down to AS Roma. So they're doing well with the academy, and that's why they started putting the spending. I think that any owner that comes now should try to borrow the Abramovich model. It would work very well. Anyone that could drop 3 to 4 billion on Abramovich, surely. I started by saying it depends on the philosophy or the financial prowess of the new owners. But if you spend that much money to buy a club, I'm sure you want to be conservative in your spending. So it is likely that Chelsea would not be seeing a big, signings, at least in the first season of the club. But like I said earlier on, I think they're pretty comfortable. They're dominant in the world scene, they're the world champions. they can't just rely on the fact that we still have some very great players, to see us for another season. But surely we're not going to see, Chelsea splash the cash in the transfer market if
that also made it difficult, it became a rivalry. Chelsea became a rivalry with the Liverpool. And if Chelsea is going to be sold out and not going to be under the control of ownership of Abramovich, then there's a possibility that that competition might just be eliminated and the likes of Liverpool and Man United might just be topping the charts in terms of the games.
Well, that's just a school of thought, but it sometimes doesn't really count. Yes, Chelsea were pretty much a decent side, but not, a struggling side pre-Abramovich era. But he came in and he showed the world that money can actually change things, and that's the same model that Manchester City came with too, when the Abu Dhabi group came to, buy them over and, got the likes of Pellegrini, got, great players from across, the continent as well. It's a matter of the money, it's a matter of, the acumen of the owner, but Chelsea have now established themselves as a dominant force. So regardless of who the owner is, I think that Chelsea would still have that sort of mentality. Shake it now. Let's see how we can, get them back out of the top four, but that's not the case. I think Chelsea have built a very strong base from the academy up. They have lots of wonderful football structures, and whoever is inheriting the club should maintain those structures, because that's what has seen them win 21 titles under the Abramovich era, and now they're club world champions. So it doesn't really count if the ownership changes and the rivalry might change. I think that Chelsea would still be around there in the top four, still not bring them up to that level where they know that, look, people will come and go. Although this is quite tough, this is an owner, coming and going. If they cannot lift themselves out of that psychologically, it would affect the team this season. And then we'll have to wait and see what strategies will be brought about next season. But for that rivalry, I think that Chelsea will come to stay, just the same way Manchester City will come to stay as well.
Mighty Judge.
It's all about the mentality now.
All right, Mighty Judge, thank you so much for bringing all of those angles that we really need to know concerning the future of Chelsea and, of course, European football, English and Premier League, concerning the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and, of course, most of these clubs having Russian ownership. We do appreciate your time, Mighty Judge.
Thank you very much.
All right. That's the size of the show for today. We must say a very big thank you to all of you who have sat back to watch the show all through Monday to Friday. My name is Justin Akadonye.
And I am Messi Boko. In case you missed out on any part of the conversation, that's all right to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. And do not forget to subscribe to YouTube channel. That's at PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Messi Boko. Many thanks for watching.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
This is it.
for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Good morning, I'm Jacinta Obiuku. And some news just reaching us indicate that the first batch of Nigerians stranded in Ukraine have indeed arrived from Romania this morning. The chairman of the A Nigerian student fleeing the conflict in Ukraine has disclosed that this journey from Kyiv in Ukraine to Budapest in Hungary was without the support of Nigerian embassy in Ukraine and Hungary. Ahmed Olalekan, who spoke to us on a subsequent bulletin, wondered why the government was not doing enough for stranded citizens in Ukraine as Russia keeps attacking. He takes us through his journey from Kyiv in Ukraine to Budapest, Hungary.
Yeah, I stay in Kharkiv. So getting out from Kharkiv has been very stressful. It's been up to 4 days for me getting to Hungary because from Kharkiv, so we need to board a train. From Kharkiv to board a train going to Lviv, and it's up to like 31 hours. So we was planning to go over to Poland, but Poland, they didn't allow Africans to come over to Poland anymore. Then we go on queue to enter the train going to Poland, but the police in Ukraine and the army, the soldiers, they didn't allow Africans. They said the woman has to go first and the people who have a baby. So we bought another train from Lviv going to Chop. It was like 4 to 5 hours journey. We bought another train going to Zaune, which is Hungary border. So we were highly welcome, accommodation, they bring out food to the Africans, we enjoy each other. The Hungary government bring out a train going to their city, which is Budapest. I don't think maybe there is any Nigerian government who support the accommodation and every other stuff because I don't see anything about Nigeria over there. No assistance from any Nigerian government, man. Because now we get into Hungary. So the only way they assist us it was the Hungary government, and they gave us accommodation for every student to stay over there for now.
As the endless queues persist, Lagos residents are lamenting the continuous difficulty and high level of bribery experienced at fuel stations. PlusTvAfrica correspondent Destiny Momo has more.
For a month now, what came as bad fuel into Nigeria has caused more pain and untold hardship on the citizens. As the long queues continue, black marketer operators are having a field day as they saturate the stations to buy petroleum products. Some individuals in the queue lament waiting up to 6 hours to get fuel.
We started experiencing it when the bad fuel came, which was withdrawn. And withdrawing that also would deplete whatever we should have had. So, but the only problem I have is that the 1.2 billion liters that NNPC said is coming, whether it has arrived or is in stock, that is what we don't know now.
If you check the time now, this past 3, that means I've been here for over 6 hours just because I want to get to fuel. Government pass me, they do what they're supposed to do. They know what to do and they ought to do it. So now their job is that. Now why they be selective officials?
I don't know what to tell the government because we have cried enough. Haven't they seen? Have they not heard? Can't they see it? Do we have to cry again? What else do we cry? We have cried enough.
While some accuse the president, who doubles as the Minister of Petroleum, of abandoning the citizens in these difficult times, others complain that fuel attendants demand bribe before dispensing.
First of all, I even went there to see what was going on. As I met them in office as the last man, they said, that's Nigeria they do. I said, who should Nigeria they do? They said, I should give them money, they will pass me enter. I said, like, I'm on. They said, okay, I should give them 1.5.
Well, they said in Cape, they collect 1,000 naira for Cape to 5 liters.
Who are those collecting the money?
The attendants in the fuel station. So that's people are getting here. Even the last month, when they're supposed to address the situation, they are passing people that give them money. So I think it was here.
The NNPC Group Managing Director, Malamele Kiari, has, however, apologized to Nigerians for the pains experienced at fuel stations, appealing to consumers to only buy the quantity they needed, and noting that there was no plan to increase the pump price, as speculated by many. Destiny Momo, Plus TV News.
And as the one-month warning strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, enters its third week, students may have to wait longer to return to class. Plus TV News correspondent Paul George was at the University of Lagos Unilag, where he spoke to students who were still on campus. The students have called for an end to the impasse between the federal government and ASU for the sake of their future.
Activities inside the University of Lagos were scanty as academic activities are still grounded, and evidence are locked up lecture halls. Students gather in groups, perhaps discussing what the future holds for them as the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, continues its one-month-long strike, which has entered its third week.
The thing is, most of us just resumed because Unilag merged two sets together. And most of us, like me, mass communication, I'm meant to spend 4 years in school. But because of this strike, I might be spending like 5 years. I hope it's not up to 5 years. So I feel the government should just do the needful.
I got admitted to Unilag 2016-17 session. And right now, this is 2022, I'm still here. Should have been done last year, October. That was the estimated time for me to finish. But here I am, still here. I feel like ASU is not asking for too much. 1.3 trillion is not even enough to fund education, really. But just to start. So ASU is not really asking for too much. The government should just, do what is necessary as a government.
Since I just got in, I've not really had any experience with it. But for other students, I feel it's a setback for them. I mean, their mates, they would have gone forward in school. They would have progressed a lot. But this ASU strike is a setback.
At Julius Berger Hall, members of ASU Unilag chapter meet with the chairman, Dele Ashiru, from the prying eyes of the media. After the meeting, Ashiru insists that the union will not shift ground except the federal government accedes to the union's demands. He speaks alongside another member of the union.
ASU don't take money from government, and ASU don't receive money from government. So we don't know what he meant by giving money to ASU. Well, this meeting is to sensitize our members about the strike, encourage them to remain resolute as long as government is unwilling to accede to our demands.
Because he has all the details. But what I do know is that these monies they are quoting as being given to ASU were not given to ASU members. They were for the university, to the university management, to use to improve the facilities on campus.
While no one knows when the impasse between the federal government and ASU will be resolved, the worst hit in all of this are the students as their academic future hangs in the balance. Paul George, Plus TV News.
The House of Representatives has thrown out a bill seeking to regulate studies for wards and children of Nigerian public office holders. Sponsors of the bill, Sergius Ogun, said the bill, if passed into law, would strengthen the indigenous institutions, provide efficient service for national development, amongst other things.
The current state of education in Nigeria has remained a matter of concern as it has consistently ranked low in world rankings. Major among many issues is the incessant strikes by university lecturers, which have been one of the reasons for the mass exodus of Nigerians overseas for studies. When this happens, wards and children of the elites usually take the lead, while children of ordinary Nigerians wait for the strikes to be over, no matter how long it takes.
Most of these foreign students are children, ward of public servants and political office holders who ostensibly cut away public funds to a private use. For private use, it is against this background that this bill is proposed to regulate this trend and position our educational system for global competitiveness.
The bill meets with stiff resistance, starting from the Deputy Minority Leader, Toby Okechukwu, who says there is no proof that regulating international studies will improve standard of education in Nigeria.
Is it likely that children schooling overseas is the reason why our educational institutions are not working effectively? We must make a distinction between hiring competent people who should man offices, who should be responsible who are acting based on knowledge as against legislating for things that may not in a real sense cure the problem.
It's not maybe because we are public officers, you now see as children schooling abroad. Some have the means, apart from being incumbent. So if you say, because I'm now a member of House of Rep, I should go and withdraw my children from where they're schooling, and our institution here, as he has said, is not in order.
I can't be discriminated because, or my children be discriminated because I'm in position of authority. That is the issue. They have a right, to be able to be educated anywhere in the world. May further, this bill in section 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic offends it very strongly, except you amend this section. Then you can be able to say you are bringing this kind of bill to the floor of the National Assembly.
In his response, the Deputy Speaker says the House cannot be blackmailed.
Our language in the floor matters, and we should not be blackmailed, and there shouldn't be blackmail. No, it's the last word you use. Please, those in favor that the bill be executed say aye. Against say nay. The nays have it.
This is not the first time this bill has been presented during plenary, but each time it comes up, it is stopped. It is believed that investment in the...
This year's theme for 2022 is You Are a Reader, and I'm here today to distribute books to children. The books actually are right here. The books are for primary 4, 5, and 6. It's like an elementary way of explaining the Sustainable Development Goals to the children. I read it to them, I spoke to them, and some of them understand what today is about. They dressed up in their favorite cartoon character, and I asked them about it, and they responded nicely, so at least I'm happy.
It's important to read books because books always help you. If you read a book today, you can be anything you want in the future. Tell them that they should always read a book, that if you read a book today, you'll be the best in the world tomorrow. So you not give them all your money.
Since its establishment more than 40 years ago, the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce has not derailed from its role of encouraging and promoting mutually beneficial trade relations between Nigeria and Britain. This was made known when some of the Chamber's executives made a courtesy visit to PlusTvAfrica in Lagos. Ngozeka Ohaishesi tells us more.
The visit of executives of the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, NBCC, to PlusTvAfrica is targeted at establishing and fostering a beneficial relationship between the NBCC and the organization.
The Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce is the foremost bilateral chamber of commerce in Nigeria. We have a membership base of over 450 members, and they're drawn from the various sectors of the Nigerian economy. It will be a pleasure to have PlusTv join us as a member.
The advocacy committee is involved with providing membership a voice to actually air and articulate their company objectives, vision, and involvement in the socio-economics of the environment.
Responding to the question on the effect of the Russia-Ukraine conflict on economies, the chairperson of the NBCC Advocacy Committee, Annie Rooney, fears the results could be devastating globally, and Nigeria is not an exception.
Personal view is that it's a crisis that is needless. From an impact as far as business is concerned, sanctions obviously will hit all countries, in particular Russia is affected. The impact of the sanctions will naturally hit Ukraine, and we just hope and pray that there can be a peace truce where dialogue can prevail and the appropriate issues can be addressed such that the business impact is not as magnified as it currently is.
She, however, challenges the government to vigorously engage the youth in business development.
The youth, that we describe them as the next generation. They are already influencing change in both the social and the economic aspects of Nigeria. They play a great role, from politics all the way through to the business economical cycle of things. They have a voice that needs to be listened to. I believe that we need to begin to guide the youth in the right direction. They're playing critical roles in business, particularly in fintech industry, in technology and innovation, and in the digital world. And we see that great influence coming to bear in productivity, particularly across the business forum.
To this end, the Chamber is carrying out various activities to improve the trade and commerce between Nigeria and Britain. Ngozika Ohaichesi, Plus TV News.
Nigerians continue to lament untold hardship in accessing fuel while long queues persist at filling stations. That's on Street Views.
Since around 15 minutes after 8, I'm here to buy fuel. We are queued for other palace there down to turn to under the bridge, you come back to the mobile. If they say small, they will stop. First of all, I even went there to see what was going on. As I missed them in the office as the last man, they said, that's Nigeria they do. I said, who should Nigeria they do? They said, I should give them money, they will pass me enter. I said, like, I'm on. They said, okay, I should give them 1.5. I said, for what?
It's very bad. Very, very bad. As you can see, I'm opposite my office here, National Open University. I was here in the morning. I didn't even go into my office. I had to queue to buy fuel and see where I am. I'm not even sure whether I'm going to get fuel.
I've been here since 9 a.m. and this is actually getting terrible. We actually started our queue from the other side of the road. We have to go turn under the bridge, then make it down here. So since 9 o'clock, if we check the time now, this is past 3. That means I've been here for over 6 hours just because I want to get to fuel.
I think it got bad over the weekend. It wasn't like this last week. But possibly, my opinion, maybe the good fuel that we have available prior to the foul fuel that they brought, we are possibly exhausting down. And once it gets exhausted, of course, there will be scarcity. Knowing fully well that the war in Russia, Ukraine, they said, has disturbed distribution.
Other parts of Africa, Deputy Chairman of Sudan Sovereignty Council, General Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo Hemti, has discussed cooperation with Russian officials on national security and political issues. Hemti held a press conference at Khartoum Airport after his 8-day visit to the Russian capital, Moscow. He said that meetings were held with many officials in Russia and that they discussed all issues between the two countries, especially politics and the economy. Hundreds of doctors and health workers have staged a rally in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, to protest violence by security forces at healthcare facilities. The protest, organized by the Sudanese Doctors Syndicate near the government-run Khartoum ENT hospital, had participants hold banners urging authorities to respect the sanctity of hospitals and medical facilities. There has been no official comment on the rally from Sudanese authorities. Outside Africa now, President Vladimir Putin says that Russia's military operations in Ukraine were going according to plan and also praised its soldiers as heroes. Putin's televised comments seemed designed to rebut statements by Western governments and intelligence agencies that Russia's campaign has stumbled in the face of logistical problems, tactical mistakes, and fiercer than expected resistance from Ukraine. He reaffirmed his stated rationale from the war, which Ukraine and the West have rejected as baseless propaganda. European Union's interior ministers have unanimously backed a plan to offer temporary protection, including residency rights, to Ukrainians fleeing the Russian invasion. EU's Home Affairs Commissioner Jonasson said almost 1 million people had already fled Ukraine, with women and children entering EU territory via Poland, Romania, Slovakia and Hungary, which all have land borders with Ukraine. Speaking after an EU interior ministers meeting in Brussels, France Gerald Darmanin said the deal would allow people fleeing the Ukrainian conflict to receive a response adapted to their situation.
And I think this is a real great day when we managed to have a unanimous decision on the Temporary Protection Directive.
Nous sommes donc tombés sur un accord, je crois, important, historique, qui va permettre aux États membres de l'Union européenne d'offrir aux personnes qui fuient le conflit ukrainien avec une réponse adaptée à leur situation devant l'afflux très important, évidemment, que nous connaissons et que nous connaîtrons dans les prochaines heures, prochains jours.
On business news, Nigeria's foreign reserve dropped to $39.86 billion as of the end of February 2022, representing a 0.44% decline compared to $40.04 billion recorded as of the previous month. This is according to data extracted from the daily external reserve tracker from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The recent decline represents the fourth consecutive monthly drop in the country's reserve level, despite increasing crude oil prices and the invasion of Ukraine by major crude oil producer Russia. Meanwhile, the reserve level has continued to downtrend largely due to the FX market intervention by the Apex Bank in a bid to ensure stability of the local currency. This implies that the central bank sells FX in the official market at a conservative rate to manage the volatility in the currency. The Russian Football Union said it will go to the Court of Arbitration for Sports to appeal against its ban from international competitions after the country's invasion of Ukraine. The union said it would file one lawsuit against football's world and European governing bodies, demanding Russia's men's and women's national teams to be allowed to compete, and ask for the suspension of competitions they were originally scheduled to compete and if unsuccessful. Russia wants its national teams reinstated to play their Men's World Cup playoff matches next month, and their women's team once again included in this summer's Euro 2022 competition in England. On Monday, Russian football clubs and national teams were suspended from all competitions until further notice by FIFA and UEFA. And that's it on the news. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Jacinta Obiugo. Thanks for watching.
raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
$500 they collect. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.